are we as a society? Who are we as people? Who are you as an individual? Who am I as a person? Well, to some of you, I might be a classmate, I might be a friend, and to some of you, I might be more, a crush, a person you hate, a person you're indifferent to, an annoying person that you have in some of your classes, the weird band kid, or the subsequently weird theater kid. Whoever I am to you, I want you to disregard all of it, okay? I want you to throw it out a window. I want you to take it, put it in a garbage disposal, and turn on the garbage disposal. Sorry. And I want you to never think about it again. I don't want you to throw that person out the window, because that is probably not who I am. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to tell you who I really am. Some highlights of my high school career, my life, if you will, throughout high school, and what's planned for me all after all of this. This is done. I hope you stick around because, you might learn some stuff that you didn't know before. So, who am I exactly? Well, let's start easy. Personality. Well, how do I see myself? Well, I see myself as a very creative, a very smart and loyal person. Unfortunately, everyone has flaws, and I know myself to be a little bit of a hothead, if you will. Someone with a temper. I can immediately be a bit impulsive and a bit too hyper for, some people's liking. And, admittedly, I can be a little rude to people, but most of the time it's because I'm having an off day. I'm not actually, rude to, I'm not just, rude to people. It's normally not against the person. I am the type of person that would put others before myself. Other people care more to me than my own self. In the words of Master Wu and Lloyd Garmadon later from Ninjago, protect those who cannot protect themselves. Essentially, what I'm getting at with saying that is I'm a very protective person. And it's mostly of the people that I care about, like friends, family. Sometimes if it's someone that I see that is getting bullied or is helpless, and I will, if I have to, I will step in. And all of this plus so much more is who I am, as you've probably picked up from being my classmate for this long, or at least I hope you've been paying somewhat attention within class. So, what else about me makes me stand out as an individual? Well, my interests and hobbies, of course. And what are some of those? I hear you saying. Well, here's a small list. Role-playing, creating original characters, watching and making YouTube videos, acting, singing, and playing trombone, writing music, playing video games, watching and making TikTok videos, streaming, watching cartoons, watching anime, writing original stories, and so much more. let me explain a few of these because some of these are really, really out there and you don't hear it a lot. So, if you look at Google, Google says the definition of role playing is act out or perform a part of a person or character, for example, as a technique in training or psychotherapy. But that's not what I mean. That's not what I mean at all. What I do mean is like type of internet role playing. So what I do is I join a chat, I either pick an original character or, otherwise known as an OC or a canon character from a show or book or movie or like a comic book, for example. And then sometimes you have to fill out a form. And once your form is approved, you type out a message of what you think that character would do within a situation. And that situation is normally based on the plot, which are typically fan-made things. And completely fan-made with no correlation to canon other than canon characters that might be within that roleplay. Creating original characters and creating original stories fall into the same book, and role-playing falls into a similar book as creating stories and characters. But anyways, OCs, like mentioned before, are original characters created by a person. Creating an OC it's like creating an entirely new life, and you get to control them. You get to make them in any way you want. If you wanted to, you can just create yourself, but an idealized version. And with this idealized version of yourself, if you insert it into a specific fandom, then it becomes a Sona. And a Sona is yourself, but inserted into different fandoms. For example, a Ninjago Sona, a Ninja Sona, a Gem Sona, a UA Sona. If you're like into really niche fandoms, a Fursona. And that's just a couple of examples with thousands, sometimes even millions of other options for Sonas, according to their respective fandoms. If I had to describe myself in one word, I think I would use the word energetic. And one song I think describes me pretty well is Waving Through a Window from Dear Evan Hansen. I will play that for you right now. I am pulling on my headphones because I also want to listen to it.
I've learned to slam on the brake before I even turn the key, before I make the mistake, before I lead with the worst of me. Give them no reason to stare, no slipping up if you slip away. So I got nothing to share, no, I got nothing to say. Step out of the sun if you keep getting burned. Step out of the sun because you've learned, On the outside, always looking in, well, I ever be more than I've always been, 'cause I'm tapping on the glass, waving through a window. I try to speak but nobody can hear, so I wait around for an answer to appear while I'm watching people pass. I'm waving through a window. Can anybody see? Is anybody waving back at me? We start with stars in our eyes. We start believing that we belong, but every sun doesn't rise, and no one tells you where you went wrong. Step out of the sun if you keep getting burned. Step out of the sun because you've learned on the outside, always looking in. Will I ever be more than I've always been? 'Cause I'm tapping on the glass, waving through a window. I try to speak but nobody can hear, so I wait around for an answer to appear while I'm watching people pass, waving through a window. Can anybody see? Is anybody waving? When you're falling in a forest and there's nobody around, do you ever really crash or even make a sound? When you're falling in a forest and there's nobody around, do you ever really crash or even make a sound? When you're falling in a forest and there's nobody around, do you ever really crash or even make a sound? When you're falling in a forest and there's nobody around, do you ever really crash or even make a sound? Did I even make a sound? Did I even make a sound? It's like I never made a sound. Did I ever make a sound? On the outside, always looking in. Will I ever be more than I've always been? 'Cause I'm tapping on the glass, waving through a window. I try to speak but nobody can hear, so I wait around for an answer to appear while I'm watching people pass, waving through a window. Can anybody see? Is anybody waving back at me? Is anybody waving?
So, yeah, that's the song. So, sorry, I had trash to throw away and I missed, so I had to pick it up. Sorry. But, anyways, moving on, pretending like none of that happened. I think the reason this song is my theme song is, well, I think it describes myself pretty well from the lines, "I've learned to slam on the brakes before I even turn the key," meaning that I've learned to be careful with who I let into my life before they hurt me, to the line, "When you fall in a forest and there's nobody around, do you ever really crash or even make a sound?" representing my anxiety of not being heard, to the line, "But not every sun doesn't rise," representing the doubt in myself with most of what I do. It's also from one of my favorite musicals, so, you know, that's a plus. So, what's next? What do I have planned? Well, after high school, I kind of have to get a job so I can pay my parents' rent. Most likely at the local Target, Walmart, Starbucks, or other fast food restaurant or retail place. Also, that I can pay my parents' rent while I'm still living here. I also need to build my body with physical training, PT, at the recruitment center in the Orange City Mall, so that I can one day join the Marines, hopefully as soon as possible within the next year or two. I also plan on taking jiu-jitsu with my father to also help build my body, and also a nice bonding experience for me and my father. In the Marines, when I do eventually join in, 1 to 2, maybe even 3 years, I plan on doing military police. But honestly, I'm fine with anything. What the fuck is in my hair? What the... There's a dead flower in my hair? I don't know. Okay, we're just gonna ignore that. I'm leaving all of this in, by the way. The only editing I need to do is, editing them together from the past couple days. Anyway. Anyways, so, where was I? Oh yes, when I do join the Marines, I do plan on doing military police, but again, honestly, I will be fine with doing anything. If they throw me out into service in a war, I will do my best in that war. After I get my GI Bill, I plan on going to college, because once you get your GI Bill, they pay for your college. But I plan on going to college and majoring in either criminology, criminal justice, or both. I don't have an exact plan yet, or a plan of what college. All I know is that I do plan on going to college and then doing criminal justice or criminology. And about after 6 or so years, maybe more, depending on how much I like the Marines, I plan on retiring from the Marines entirely and trying to get a job as a police dog handler. If not just a police officer, if I can't get police dog handler, then I will be fine with just officer. And give or take, I might also do acting and musicianship on the side as a side hustle, just because I enjoy both of those so much. And I also plan on doing YouTube here as a side job. So yeah, fun. So what would I say to my freshman self? It's an interesting question, really. I've never really thought about it before, but if I really had to think of something that I would say to my freshman self right now, on the spot, is do your work and try to forget the trauma that you got from Miss Sutton. Don't try and spite your current teachers just because you had a bad experience with one. Don't try and spite a current teacher because they wronged you in some way, even if the way they wronged you is giant and very disrespectful, or no matter how much it hurts. I'd also probably say something along the lines of, that one kid you fight, kick his butt. People won't mess with you anymore after this fight happens. And, you don't even get in trouble, so it's a win-win situation because you get to protect your friends and people fear you in a way. Well, probably not fear you, but they know oh shit, that girl's gonna fight. And I'd also probably say something along the lines of, don't be so aggressive towards people you dislike, especially teachers, because at some point that's gonna come back and it's gonna bite you and it's gonna hurt. But don't be too passive either. Don't be like, oh, you're bullying me, it's fine, you're stronger than me, I don't, But also don't be like, hey, shut the fuck up, you dumb bitch, fuck you, I'm gonna fight you now, my logic makes sense. What's the last thing I want to do before I leave the school? An interesting question. A really, really interesting question, actually. I think the last thing I want to do before I leave the school is tell all my favorite teachers that I've ever had within both Villa Park, obviously, and maybe even go back to Sarah Villa and tell my Sarah Villa teachers how much I love them, how much they changed my life for the better, how much I'm gonna miss them, stuff like that. And I'd probably tell the teachers that I didn't like so much. Maybe I had some beef with them, maybe I had other issues with them. I tell them how they can improve their class, which is basically just another way of saying, hey, this is why I hated you. Which I know it sounds a little harsh, but if a teacher takes that seriously and they actually want kids to like them, and they're not like Mrs. Lynch in Grease, then they will take that advice and they will implement it into their next year classroom. Or at least I hope so, But of course, if I don't get a chance to do that, I want to at least tell Mr. Corbett that I'm going to miss him and that I love him. I love his teaching. I love him as a person. I really care about him. Mr. Corbett's one of my favorite teachers, if not my favorite teacher. And, I'm going to miss him. He's my band teacher. Band is my favorite subject. But, with all of that being said, if I couldn't talk to Mr. Corbett, if I couldn't talk to my favorite teachers, if I couldn't talk to my least favorite teachers, I'd want to do something with my trombone. I don't know what. I don't know, whatever. But I'd want to do something with my trombone. Maybe learn Final Countdown and play Final Countdown? I don't know. But I'd like to do something with my trombone. I really honestly haven't thought about this much, though, so I'm sorry that I can't answer more.